Hello sweet friends and welcome. This is Gina and you are watching the Rebookery channel. Today I'm going to go back to my junk planner that I'm working in right now. And if you've watched my last couple of videos, I've been doing a daily, there's my February, I've been doing a daily documentation of things that I'm grateful for. So kind of like a gratitude journal, but instead of making a separate journal, I've just been putting it in my junk journal. And so the thing about that is I have only about, like the way I've been doing it is I have a spread and I only have enough room for, I don't know, maybe 9 days. And so then like every 9 days I need to create another page. So here is the page I finished last night. And so now I need to put a new page in for the next however many days I can get in. So I did this in the last video and I'm going to work on a new page today. So today as I do this though, I'm going to focus not so much on the prepping the background, but I'm going to focus more on, I'm really kind of into stitching right now, hand stitching. And I'm falling in love with just this, well, it's actually being called the slow stitching movement, but it's just this movement of taking a needle and thread and just making marks with that. You do not have to be an embroidery artist. You do not have to be a needlework professional to do this. My skills are so limited. I know basically 2 stitches. I know like a running stitch and I can do a blanket stitch, and I think that's because my grandma taught me a blanket stitch maybe a long time ago, but even then it's just a very wonky stitch. But that's the beauty of this. You can jump in at any point, whether you are a needlework artist or you are just starting out. And for me, I am just starting out, and my hands, my fingers don't work the way I wish they did, and my eyes don't work the way I wish they did either. So I really put the slow in slow stitching, and I'm okay with that. And that's kind of the whole point of it. It's not a fast stitch like running it through the sewing machine, which is, you know, what I've done here on the edges. I've just run these through the sewing machine. This is a sit down with a cup of tea, cup of coffee, and you got your dog on your lap, and you've got a piece of fabric, and you got a needle and some thread. And if you want to throw in buttons or you want to throw in beads, that's okay, but you don't have to. And you just are pushing the needle through the fabric, and it can be anything you want it to be. So I'm really just getting into this, and I'm just learning the basics. There are some fabulous artists out there, some slow stitching artists, and if you look up slow stitching like on Instagram and such, it'll take you to the artist. I just started taking a class, Kelli May Krenz, I believe, and it's her slow stitch journal classes, and I just started the class. There's like 50 lessons, and so I'm with my limited amount of time between my school life and then just, you know, my home life, I haven't been able to get too much into the lessons, but she is an amazing slow stitched artist, and so I'm just kind of learning a little bit from her. But you don't have to do that. I mean, absolutely, I would encourage you, if you want to take a class, you could. But let's say you don't have the money, or you don't have the resources, or you don't have the time. That's okay, guys. I dug through my stash, and let me show you what I actually have. So I have these old things. You might know them. They're books. And I started to look through my books, and I was like, you know what? I have a lot of great resources at my fingertips. So this is a book that I picked up on lap quilting, and I know we're not really talking about quilting, but it's this whole movement of just using fabric and texture and threads and telling your story through these. And you don't have to make an entire book out of a quilt or out of fabric, but these can be little snippets that you put inside your story. And I'm just using these to enhance my story. So I could actually get some ideas from this. Okay, so there's that one. I also have this book. This is called Creative Hands. And so this is the complete knitting, dressmaking, and needlecraft guide. Oh, looks like it was $1. And so look at this right there. That's gorgeous. That is inspiration. Now, am I going to create that? Oh my gosh, no way. Because like I said, my hands and my eyes don't work the way I wish they did. But this is inspiration. And if nothing else, I tear this page out and I put it in my journal. There would be nothing wrong with putting this as a page and then taking my needle and thread and kind of going over some of the stitches here. That would be a really cool effect. So there's just lots of inspiration that I can get from this book. And yeah, I'm gonna look at that. That's just awesome. And maybe I can't do that right now, but I can use that in my journals. So that's a good book. And like I said, looks like it was only $1. Here's another one I have. Looks like it was $1 also. Cross stitch and sampler book. So love the jacket here, the book jacket here. I might just take that off because that looks like something that could go in a journal. Okay, so this book, oh, look at this, guys. This is jackpot right here. So I see this, and this is like eye candy. I love, love, love this. This page is amazing. So there's hints, tips, and tricks. There's how to use a frame, which so as I'm slow stitching, and I'll show you a couple of the pieces that I'm working on, and don't expect to be wowed or anything, because like I said, they are very basic, but just holding the fabric is just kind of a new thing, because I don't know about you guys, but I'm so used to my work already being in a journal, and it's already contained and it's already held in. So just holding the fabric is just kind of something that I've had to learn how to work my way around that. Look at this piece. Look at the hand stitching there. That is amazing. Oh, wow. And I try to collect, every time I go to a thrift store or something, I try to collect abandoned pieces of needlework that somebody started and maybe didn't finish. So I could even pull some of those things in. Oh, there is so much inspiration. Oh my God, that is amazing. So yeah, this, okay, I'm loving this book right here. This is good stuff right here. Oh, and this is an article on feed sex. Hey, that's pretty cool. So yeah. Okay, so there's that book. This one's called Cross Stitch and Sampler Book. Okay, this one, 2-hour cross stitch. Ooh, and then again, this book jacket is awesome. All right, so let's check out and see what's in here. Oh my God, look at this. Okay, so on the edge of every page are some little cross stitch samples. How amazing is that? Guys, this could be awesome inspiration. These could be things I could cut out and put in my journal, or I could even try to maybe replicate these. Oh my gosh. Okay, so this is cool. And then this is just cool too. All right, so I like that book. Yeah. The Big Book of Small Needlework Gifts. And hey, listen up, kiddos. I am telling you, these books are everywhere. You go to a thrift store and go to their craft section. Go to their book or their craft section, and I'm telling you, these books are everywhere. I mean, every time I go, there's scads of these. So this is not, oh my God. Okay, that's awesome. There are scads of these, and you don't have to go anywhere special to find books like these. because most people have abandoned, like that, just that generation of this craft has kind of been abandoned, and it's just now seeing a revival. And so yeah, you can find books like this. I got a couple more here. I want to look at Painting with Stitches. Now, if I remember correctly, this book was a little more expensive. I actually got this one at a used bookstore, but I just felt like Painting with Stitches was just really, that title pulled me in. Oh, that's gorgeous, 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 gorgeous. Oh, and so this one, this is exactly what I need. I need to watch and see how stitches are being done, because like I said, I know about 2 stitches. So if I wanted to improve my stitching, or if I wanted to learn some new stitches, these books would be exactly where I would go. You know, a long time ago, this is how we learned how to stitch, was not watching YouTube videos, but looking at books. And so while I love looking at YouTube and finding all the videos, when it comes down to me learning something, I literally have to have the instructions right there next to me so that I can watch and just look at it and do it. And videos don't always give me that, because you got to press pause and blah 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 blah. So yeah, this is great. Look at all these stitches right here, the feather stitch, the lazy daisy, and so this would be, there's my blanket stitch, the chain stitch, cross stitch. Yeah, here's the running stitch. That's that one I know how to do. So this is going to be great for inspiration, but it's also going to be great for me to, if I really want to go and learn some more stitches and practice on my stitches, I could definitely use this. Okay, this one is, whew, this one's dusty. 120 needlepoint design projects. Oh ho ho, this one's screaming 1970s. Yeah, love that. Ooh, the mushrooms, like that. That would be cool if I could ever up my game enough to do something like that. So yeah, okay, this one would be good. And this one kind of is looking like it's showing you how to do projects and such. Talks a little bit about needles and things like that. Introducing needlepoint. Oh, go this way. Okay, so this is just going to be a basic book on stitching and the different here's another thing. You may be like me and you just don't know a lot about the art of needlework, and you don't know a lot of the vocabulary and the story behind it. And so this looks like this would be a book that would be great to have, talking about all the different stitches. Yeah, this is a good, I like this book. Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad I found this one. Now, here's, oh, my whole stack of books just dropped. Okay, here's my favorite book. And I love to collect this book, but I collected this book for the purpose of turning it into a journal, and just because I wanted to collect this book, just because, I don't know, it just, oh, it's just awesome. Look at this book. This is so cool. Just the cover is awesome. But then I got to thinking about it. Hey, why not actually look at the book and see what it has to offer? And yeah, this isn't disappointing. Look at this, guys. Here's my guide right here. Here's what I need. This is exactly what I'm needing. I need this book to show me how to do these stitches. And it's got the instructions. What an amazing book. And there, you know, you've seen these books before. There's a whole Reader's Digest like collection. I have the I have a sewing one, I have a gardening one. They put out several, and it's just these manuals. But what makes them really cool is that, one, I love the size and how they're laid out. They're more of a horizontal book, and they are so detailed with their just their instruction and their pictures. And yeah, this is awesome. Okay, so it's gonna be a sunshiny day today where I live, and it's supposed to be in the 60s. So I can tell you what I'm going to do today. I'm taking this book, I'm taking my sewing box and I'm gonna head outside. I'm just gonna play around with some stitches. So yeah, once I get this journal page done, that's what I'm planning on doing today. Okay, so there you go. There's some things you could use if you don't have the resources or don't want to take a class. And of course you can always go to YouTube. So this is my sewing box. And this was an old toolbox that I found at a, it was actually the Goodwill outlet. So this was destined, I mean, this is the last hope for this thing. I pulled it out, it was black, it's completely rusted out on the bottom. There's holes in it. My husband keeps trying to throw it away and I'm like, no, 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 there's something I can do with this. So I turned this, I painted it, and then I tried to put some varnish and stuff over the rust so that it would quit peeling off and hopefully stop rusting. But I turned this into my sewing basket. And so this is my hand stitching basket. And I know it's not a basket, it's a box. So you can kind of see, I put, this is a piece of old quilt. I don't know if I can turn this so you guys can see it. This is a piece of old quilt and I just glued it in as a panel up here. And then I just took this old elastic that I had and I stuck, I pinned it on and ran it through my sewing machine so that it would make these little little compartments. And one time, several years ago, I bought an old sewing basket from a thrift store because I'm obsessed with just old sewing baskets. Just love collecting them. I have my grandma's and then I have mine, my first one that I ever got, and then I just collect them. But anyway, in this one, there was these little glass jars and they were full of, here, let me show you. They were full of beads and sequins and yeah, and so I've just had them and I didn't really know what I wanted to do with them. I thought they were kind of cool, but they were just sitting in a drawer. So I pulled those out because, yeah, this is exactly what they were meant to do. They were meant to go in this sewing box and then I can use them when I'm doing my sewing. And so then I just kind of put my needles and my pins up here and yeah. So then this is my box. That's where I store like those jars and stuff. In here I have a bag that's just got some fabric bits and I just grabbed scraps and bits, and this is one of my favorite pieces here. This is an old quilt. I actually had these for sale in my shop for the longest time. I think actually I sold the last one, but this is a quilt that I picked apart, and I just took some of the stuff that was left over and threw it in here. This is I think I have another piece. So this is a different quilt. This actually never got put into a quilt. This was just a quilt top, and there's some feed sack fabric in here that someone had started but they never finished, and so I just took it, and the pieces will be amazing as some slow stitching pieces because first of all they are hand stitched, and second of all look at the variety of color and textures and different types of fabric, and so I could just easily pull this apart and I could use this, or I could cut it, or whatever I wanted to do. So this is just a little collection of bits and bobs and laces and just all kinds of some actual needlework fabric, some, I think they call this Ada cloth. So yeah, this is kind of where I store, and any projects that I'm working on, I store it in here. So there's that. Let's see. Well, I guess I could just, you want me to just go ahead and give you a tour? I'll go ahead and give you a tour of my box. Okay. So this is an old box, and this is just strands of beads that, again, in one of the old sewing baskets that I've picked up over the years, this was in there. So these beads would be cut apart, and then I could use these beads in my slow stitching. So I haven't gotten to that point yet, but eventually that's what I want to do, is to be able to use these beads because they are old and they are beautiful. This is a recipe box. So this, I'm obsessed with recipe boxes. So like I grab them whenever I can, and then I put different things in them. Like this one holds my alphabet stamps, and this one holds just some stuff that I have in this box. So this is like a piece that I was working on the other day. These are just kind of, I don't know, like little fabrics and trims and some bigger threads. Yeah, just, I don't know, just all kinds of weird things, rickrack. And so just kind of have those in here. So this is a box of some of my most favorite sequins. And again, I got it when I got those little those little glass jars. But these are my favorite because, oh, look at them, guys. They're turquoise. And then there was these little star sequins that I found, and I put those in here too. There's some gold sequins. And so this is a Tiffany jewelry box, which is, I love the color, but these sequins are like my ultimate favorite sequins. And I have just had them sitting out so I could stare at them for years. And now, you know what? I'm going to use them. So these sequins are just in this box. This is a little compartment that I have with all my needles. So any ones that I don't have stuck in my little quilt fabric here, I just stick extra needles in this. This is a pair of scissors that I've got. I need to get a bit better pair of scissors. So this is a little tin that had some chocolate in it, and one of my students gave me this year, and I, of course, ate the chocolate, but I loved the tin. And so in this tin, let's see if I can open it. There we go. In this tin, I've just got little doodads, just little pieces of some old sewing stuff. There's some safety pins, there's some little tags in here. This is actually, so I told you my box rusts, so this is actually a piece of the rust that chipped off, and in my mind I'm thinking I'm putting this somewhere. So I just stuck it in here, and I'm going to put it somewhere in a journal, but I just kind of keep some weird things in here. I've got a needle book that I made, and there's some needles and pins in here, but I just thought it kind of belonged in this. I don't really use this very much because to me it's, I don't know, it's just easier to pull my needle off from the lid here, but I got a needle book, stuck that in here. So this is a plastic container that actually had a bunch of sequins in it, and I got this from the Dollar Tree, but I took the sequins out, put them in the jars, and then what this is beads and buttons. And so again, these are old things that I have found in sewing baskets. And I'm trying to make sure you guys, I'm in the frame here. These are old things that I found in sewing baskets as I've just kind of always picked them up. I don't know, I probably have 9 or 10 sewing baskets that I just have around my studio, and I just put random things in, and I just love them. And so then the stuff that's actually in there I take out and put somewhere else, and now they've all found a home. So just some different beads, and I eventually want to get to the point where I'm good at using the beads, but because I'm just beginning, I'm just starting out. But then I also wanted to use my buttons, because I have so many buttons, and they're just sitting there, and I need to use them. And what I've found is if I don't have them accessible to me, I will not use them. So I just took the rest of these compartments and I just threw in some random buttons. And so when I sit on the deck, like I'm gonna do this afternoon, this is what I'm using. And if it's not in here, I'm too bad. Like this is what I'm going to use. And limiting my supplies has really opened up my creativity. Having supplies on hand, like this is all my hand stitching stuff. Having it all in one place, and then having a limited amount of supplies has upped my creativity immensely. Okay, this was a purchase. So I did purchase this off of Amazon, and I can't even remember which one it was, but I basically got the cheapest one. I don't even think I spent more than $10 on this, but I needed some threads, and they needed to be embroidery threads because all I had was really sewing threads, and then I have my waxed linen thread for my journal binding, and I didn't want to use that. So this actually came in a plastic container, and then it just has all of these embroidery threads. The quality is not the best, but I'm okay with this because I am not making any precious, you know, priceless things here. I'm just playing and I'm just having fun. But here's why I did like this kit. I liked that it came in this little plastic container, and I knew the container would fit in here. And then it came with some extra tools. So here's some scissors, not the best quality scissors, but you know, for less than 10 bucks, what do you expect? Some different types of thimbles and a seam ripper, and then the best thing in the world when you've got old eyes, a needle threader. And so it came with 2 needle threaders, and I'm telling you people, I use this all the time. So this was kind of cool. This is a hole puncher that I actually have when I bought a bookbinding kit a long time ago. And so I just stuck it in here because a lot of times I've found that, especially when I'm stitching on paper, I like to punch my holes before I stitch. So there's this one, and then also just a little push pin works wonderfully for just going ahead and stitching your holes. And so then it's got all these little threads in here. So yep, that's awesome, that's cool, and I like this because it fits in here and it's perfectly contained. And then over here I have another jar of old sequins. Again, this came out of that one sewing basket that had all those good jars in it. And then this little box right here is just some of my threads that I would use. And so if I didn't want to use the embroidery thread, if I wanted to use a thinner thread, these are where I just keep those right there. I've got a couple binder clips in here to kind of hold things together, and then I have a bigger needle threader, and I just got this at like Joann's or something. So there's a couple other things I want to add to this while I've got it open. I have a bunch of these yarns, and I want to add a couple of these, like this pink one, because I think that would, and this is old, but I think this will work in, I want to add this to my kit, so I will probably, and I hope you guys are able to see all of this. I apologize, I feel like I'm all up in your grill here. Okay, so I'm probably just going to put this like back in there. And then I had some of these embroidery flosses, and the colors are amazing. And I really, really love these because these are a little bit thicker and they have more of a sheen. These guys are more matte, and these guys have more of a sheen to them, so it'll just give a different effect. And so I'm going to add those. Let's see if I can stick those in. I also have some more of these yarns, but I don't know that I'm going to stick all of the yarns in. Maybe I'll just take one. Stick one in. Okay. And then the other thing is, okay, so I found at a thrift store, I found a it came from a decorating studio, and it was a binder of beads and cords and trims that you could put on like drapery. So I bought it and didn't realize what I was going to do with it. And so anyway, here's what I'm going to do. Look at this, guys. These are the exact same thing as my bead strands. Like they're just a smaller strand. So these are instant beads that I can put in my stitching, and I think that's really, really cool. I love that I figured out something to do with these. Now obviously, just like the bead strands, I'll cut it apart and then all the beads will be loose, and then I would use them. But yeah, just so this is awesome. So I have a couple of these, and I kind of wanted to add these to my bead strands. So I think what I'll do is I'll put that one in, and then I'll put that in, and I don't know if this whole thing will fit, and I'm okay with that because I don't need excess here. But I can do, oh, can you hear the kids outside playing? I got my windows open. It's a little cold, but got my windows open. And so I'll put that in. So there you go. There's some more bead strands. I also found that I had a couple little extra doodads that I wanted to add to my little chocolate tin here. So we'll just throw those in. Okay, so that's that. And then there's one more thing I want to add. I have come to realize that thread works really well when it has been waxed. And so I use beeswax. Let me see if I can break off a piece here. I use beeswax. I actually need to get some more beeswax. I had been buying it at like Joann or something, and it would come in a really small package. This was actually in a bookbinding kit, and it was a big piece of beeswax, but I have found some on Amazon, and you can get several blocks for a much cheaper price. So I need to order some of that. But what I want is I want a piece of beeswax in my kit, because especially with this fabric, or this these threads right here, they are, I don't know how to explain it. I want to say they're dry. I know they're all dry, but they just, you can see there's just a lot of fuzz and stuff on them, and running them through this block a couple of times will just kind of calm down the fibers and bring them more close together, so that when I stitch, the threads actually are more like one piece rather than a bunch of splintered fibers, if that makes any sense. I do not know. If once you start stitching with the threads, you'll figure out what I mean. So anyway, I'm just going to take a little block of that, and I'm going to stick that in there, because I want to have some of that on hand. I can run my stitches, or my threads, through it. Okay, so I don't know. This totally took a gigantic detour. This was not what I intended this video to be. So let me remove all of my stuff, and we'll get back to what I was actually going to do today. Okay, so now that I got that all cleaned off, let me go back to what I originally had planned. And my original plan was I wanted to create a new page in here for my gratitude. And so I'm going to find, I actually had one that I thought I was going to use. You know, I'm okay with this. This is fine. This was just me playing one day after school, and yeah, this is just, it's just a background, and I've got some paint down there and some marks down there, and I'm good. And here's the best part. Here's the piece that I wanted to use, the piece that I've been working on, just the hand stitched piece, and I did my wonky blanket stitch around here, and then here I'm just doing some running stitches, and this will actually work really well. I love the colors. I love how this plays off of here. And then look, there was actually some red and some bright colors over here on this fabric. So this is going to work great. So the first thing I want to do on this that I have found that I love, love, love is, again, with the clear gesso. I am obsessed with this clear gesso, people. I don't know why it took me so long to discover it, but here's why I like it. It keeps the bottom layer, and then, let me get a paintbrush here, and then it puts this funky grit on the top layer, and there is something so satisfying about dragging my pen, or I tell you what, it's the markers that I just love dragging the marker, or a pencil, just a regular old pencil. I love dragging it across that texture, that grit, and oh, good gravy. And so yeah, that's what I want. I want to create that. So that's why I'm just going to put on a little layer here, and gonna make sure it's good and dry, because if I try to use my markers and stuff over it when it is not dry, it's going to mess up the tips of my pens. And for my gratitude entries, I've just been using a regular old Sharpie pretty much, either that or a pencil. Nothing fancy, because it's usually at the end of the day when I am so tired and I just want to quickly write down what is it that I am thankful for. And so I just grab whatever is around, and I write on it with whatever, you know, whatever utensil I have, and it's really nothing fancy. So I'm fine with that, and it's okay, because the whole point is not for it to look gorgeous. The whole point is for me to get into the practice of being grateful. And I will say this, I've been doing this since, oh my gosh, I think it was Thanksgiving when I started. So November, guys, it is amazing. It is life-changing. For those of you that have never done it before, it is life-changing. I have trained my brain, and I'm still doing it, and yeah, it's good stuff. So if you haven't done it, and I know I've seen things like, well, people put 3 things down a day. You know, you don't have to have a number on it. Sometimes I put 1 thing down, sometimes I put a couple of things down. But yeah, and sometimes I don't get to it that day, but I know, okay, that's on my list of things to do. I got to go back and write down what I was grateful for. And I've been really good at keeping up with it. So, all right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish up. I hadn't finished up my stitches on this, and I can't quite. I had this turquoise piece, and when I originally did this, I thought this was going to work, but I'm not loving it. I don't know why. I think maybe the piece is too big. So let me cut it. And of course, I'm not using fabric scissors, so this is going to work out really well. There we go. And that, I'll tell you, that's another thing I want to, and I'm trying really hard not to go and, you know, go and buy a whole bunch of stuff for that sewing kit. I'm trying to just use what I have. But one thing I do want to get, I do want to get a really good pair of some sewing scissors, because there's just such a difference between good scissors and not good scissors. So all I'm going to do here is just kind of do another running stitch, and you guys are going to laugh at this because I'm, again, not a professional, and I'm kind of standing up right now, and my fingers are a little cold, so they're just not working very well here, but you'll just kind of get the idea of what I'm doing. There's a YouTube channel. It's called The Mushroom Market. I believe she lives in Australia, and she does a video where she makes a whole bunch of just little pieces like this, and I watched her video, and oh, it was just so inspiring. And so I'm thinking, I think I'm going to leave it just like that. I'm thinking I'll label that, or I'll list it down below and then let you guys see it if you want to go there and check it out. But she just does this really cool where she just sits one day with a bunch of fabrics, and she just kind of walks you through how she's making these little bits. And then when she goes to journal, she's got a bunch of these little fabrics, and they're ready to go, these little pieces, and she'll just, I guess, pull it out and put it in her piece, kind of like I'm doing. So I'm not going to tie a knot in this just because, for the sake of time, because it will take me forever, because again, my fingers don't work the way I think they should. But I am going to go ahead and show you how I'm going to put it on. And because I'm going to glue this, it doesn't matter if this is tied, because it's going to get caught in the glue, and it's going to all be good. And I'm going to use some gel medium. So this is some golden gel medium, and yeah, this stuff, everything sticks to this stuff. So I'm gonna grab a brush. Okay, so let me figure out where I want to put this. I like it down here because it plays off that red. I like it up here. I don't know. What did I do? I guess I did. I'm overthinking this. Why am I overthinking it? This is just ridiculous. I don't want to overthink it. I'm going to put it down here. And yeah, there you go. So this gel medium, it's like gel, kind of like paste. And you just slather it on here. And make sure I'm going to get that thread, since I didn't really put a knot in it. Okay, And then dun, 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 just put this down here. Add a little bit. You can go back over it with your paintbrush if you want to. And it takes just a bit to dry. And then yeah, and it'll be stuck tight. And so on this, I'm also thinking about, I think I'll just, there we go. On this, I think I will also, like the last time I did this, I put, let's see if we can find it. What did I put? Let me find it. There we go. I stamped thanks for. So on this one, I don't know. Thinking about maybe just putting a tag or something here. Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to see. I'll have to see how the day plays out. Like I said, I'm taking all this stuff and I'm going outside soon as it's got to get just a little bit warmer. And then I'm going to go and I'm spending the day on the deck. I've got sunscreen on, got my pajamas on. Husband's doing the grocery shopping. So yeah. This gonna be my day, guys. I'm so excited, and I wish I could take you out there with me, but you know, sometimes I just gotta create on my own. Do you ever feel like that? You just gotta create on your own and create like no one is watching. And so that's kind of what I'm gonna do today. So, but I will, once I get this all set up, I will post it on Instagram and let you see how it finished up. And so just like I did in the last video, I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna stamp the dates on here. Maybe put a little piece of washi tape. I found this little piece of fabric on my desk, and I don't know, kind of feel like it's sad and it needs to go somewhere. So maybe I'll put this little piece of fabric across the top here. And then with the sun being out and stuff, I'm gonna get some really good light, and I think I'm gonna practice my stitches. Take some of those books out and kind of see what kind of shenanigans I can get up to with my or get into with my my stitches and my little toolbox full of good stuff. So yeah, we'll see. Okay, so I think I have, yeah, there you go. All right, I think I've made enough of a mess right now, and I think I need to go get some more coffee and start heading out to my deck. All right, kiddos, I hope you got some inspiration today, and when I do publish this video, I will try to link the things that I've talked about so you can find out if it's anything that you are interested in. And yeah, search through your craft supplies. What do you have that you could use to make yourself a little sewing kit, I guess. I hope you guys are healthy. I hope you guys are happy, and I hope you do something creative today. Love you guys. Talk to you later. Bye.